Japan just detonated a bomb under the R-Vee world, a fully road-legal camper for $4,095. And the industry is scrambling to contain the fallout. Dealers are panicking, manufacturers are panicking, and buyers? They're suddenly questioning every six-figure price tag they've ever been shown. But here's the part nobody can explain: how Toyota built something this cheap without stripping out essentials. And if this thing hits global lots, the used R-Vee market could collapse faster than anyone's ready for. If you own an R-Vee, or you plan to buy one, this matters more than you think. Because what's coming next could change the entire market overnight. The $4,095 shock. Japan just did what every Western manufacturer said was impossible. In a live broadcast from a modest factory outside Nagoya, Toyota rolled back the curtain on the Cam Road Micro R-Vee, priced at only $4,095. Not a stripped-down shell, not a Prototype A, fully certified, road-legal camper. Within minutes, news clips went viral. People froze the screen to double-check the number, certain it had to be a translation error, but it wasn't. That was the official retail price confirmed by Toyota itself. Analysts called it an earthquake moment. For decades, the R-Vee market trained buyers to accept six-figure prices as the cost of freedom. Now, one model threatened to erase that logic overnight. Photos showed a compact yet complete design. Convertible bed, solar input, lightweight composite panels, and zero wasted space. It was the minimalist camper nobody believed could exist until Japan built it. Behind the applause came panic, because if that number holds true, every major price chart in the global R-Vee market just turned obsolete. The number stunned the market. But what truly unsettled the experts was how Japan managed to build something that cheap without cutting a single visible corner. The engineering secret. The secret behind Toyota's $4,095 Cam Road isn't magic, it's math. Every inch of it was designed to break manufacturing tradition. Instead of luxury fittings, the engineers used modular panels that snapped together like aircraft interiors, cutting labor time from 130 hours to 40. Recycled aluminum replaced heavy steel framing, and thermoplastic shells eliminated the need for paint entirely. Even the wiring harness came pre-assembled from the same supply chain used in Toyota's small commercial trucks, meaning no extra production lines. But the real stroke of genius was logistics. By sourcing every major component within 200 kilometers of Nagoya, Toyota removed nearly all shipping and storage costs. Documents leaked from suppliers show material savings as high as 65% compared to Western plants. No advertising campaigns, no middlemen, just precision efficiency scaled to perfection. This wasn't a concept for someday, it was production ready now. Every figure on the cost sheet made sense until investigators realized the math only worked because someone, somewhere, was quietly taking the hit. If you want to stay ahead of every major shift hitting the R-Vee market, make sure you're subscribed and hit the like button. It tells the platform you want real data, not dealer spin every time we publish. The design that redefines freedom. At first glance, the Cam Road looks like a courier van with windows. But step inside, and the logic becomes clear. Every inch is purposeful. A convertible dinette folds into a bed. A 5-gallon water module slides under the bench, and a single solar panel feeds a compact lithium pack, good for 2 nights of lighting and refrigeration. There's no generator, no slide-outs, and no marble countertop, just what you need to move and rest. Toyota's designers explained it as freedom through reduction. By removing weight, they reduced fuel demand, tire wear, and insurance classification. Maintenance costs drop by nearly half because there's less to break, and service parts match standard commercial vans. This stripped-back approach resonates with Japan's broader, simple mobility culture. But it rattles Western markets, built on luxury upsells. When a camper can be repaired with hardware store parts, extended warranties and dealer markups lose their grip. Owners no longer depend on specialized service centers. They can manage repairs themselves. It's a design that protects the wallet as much as the traveler. Hidden inside that simplicity was a message the industry wasn't ready to hear, and it echoed straight into boardrooms across the Pacific. Panic in the boardrooms. By the second day after the announcement, internal memos began circulating through North American and European manufacturers. Words like price floor collapse and strategic containment appeared in every subject line. Analysts confirmed that a fully equipped camroad could land in foreign markets for under $8,500 after shipping and taxes. For comparison, the cheapest American micro camper still starts above $72,000, meaning a single Japanese import could outsell 5 domestic models. Share prices for 2 mid-size builders dropped 5% in 24 hours. Emergency calls were held between finance officers and dealer networks. Some proposed aggressive rebate campaigns. Others suggested halting production until market response stabilized. A leaked conference transcript captured one executive saying, "If this spreads, we'll be sitting on dead inventory by spring." It wasn't exaggeration. Wholesale lots were already full, and floor plan loans were accruing interest daily. The panic wasn't about innovation, it was about exposure. For years, corporations convinced customers that higher prices meant progress. The camroad proved the opposite. It showed that efficiency, not luxury, creates value. Behind closed doors, a strategy was forming: coordinated discounts, public relations spin, and quiet lobbying to slow Japanese imports. While the markets reeled, corporate leaders began dialing through the night, trying to stop a revolution they could no longer control: the counterattack. 48 hours after Toyota unveiled the camroad Micro R-Vee, legacy manufacturers rolled out emergency announcements of their own. Winnebago hinted at a budget electric line. Thor Industries teased a next-generation lightweight platform. And several European builders suddenly promised affordable innovation. It sounded like competition, but insiders knew it was containment. The real goal was to flood the market before Japan could scale. Each company planned to push unfinished prototypes into trade shows, calling them concepts, while quietly gauging how far they could bluff investors. Executives hoped that by showcasing flashy renders and early mock-ups, they could freeze customer excitement long enough to buy time. The camroad's sub-$5,000 price wasn't just cheaper. It was an existential threat to a business model built on 6-figure margins. These brands were not preparing to compete. They were staging distraction. A leaked email from a North American factory manager admitted, "We can't build under 25,000 without gutting our warranty reserves." That sentence revealed everything. Their survival depended on convincing buyers that cheap meant dangerous. Rushed product launches were only the surface move. The real damage was hiding in the spreadsheets no one wanted investors to see. The economic math they don't want you to see. Behind every R-Vee price tag lies a chain of suppliers, freight costs, and labor hours. Toyota's camroad flipped each element on its head. Internal documents showed an average of 40 man-hours from chassis to delivery, versus 120 in most American plants. The base frame was built locally, saving roughly $2,800 in shipping per unit. Electronics came from domestic subcontractors tied to the same circuits used in compact trucks, lowering procurement fees by 12%. Even adhesives were sourced from recycled industrial material, cutting chemical imports by half. In contrast, a mid-size American R-Vee burns money long before it hits the highway. The average chassis alone costs over $18,000, paint adds another $3,400, and labor easily crosses $9,000. That means nearly $31,000 before interior components even arrive. No wonder every model sold above $80,000 still barely clears margin. When analysts compared those columns side by side, the conclusion was brutal. Western production was bloated, inefficient, and dependent on cheap credit. Those numbers painted a grim picture, but policymakers saw something even darker coming, and they were already preparing their defense. The policy storm. By the second week of headlines, economic ministries in Washington, Brussels, and Canberra convened emergency committees. Officially, they framed the discussion as vehicle safety harmonization. Unofficially, it was a shield. If import certifications could be delayed, domestic brands could clear aging stock before Japanese shipments arrived. Leaked drafts from a trade commission meeting proposed new inspection standards requiring additional crash testing for any R-Vee under 2 metric tons, a rule that would conveniently exclude most Western models while trapping the camroad in paperwork limbo. Lobbyists flooded offices with claims that ultra-cheap R-Vees might destabilize local employment. One even argued that their small battery systems violated unspecified grid compatibility concerns. None of it had technical backing, But the narrative stuck. Meanwhile, Japanese officials publicly stated that all exported cam roads already met international safety protocols. The standoff became political theater. Each delay bought weeks, maybe months, yet demand kept building online. Waiting lists in Asian markets stretched past 30,000 names. Every day of obstruction only amplified curiosity. When politics steps in, the market never stays calm for long, and behind those closed-door debates, another shakeup had already begun. The market correction begins. The first visible tremor appeared on used lot listings in Phoenix and Dallas. Overnight, several compact R-Vees dropped from 124,000 to 98,000. Dealers framed it as a seasonal adjustment, but finance managers later admitted the truth. They were afraid of being stranded above a collapsing price floor. Floor plan lenders had begun asking for updated valuations, hinting that collateral might be overestimated by as much as 20%. One small dealership group preemptively wrote down its inventory by $500,000 to avoid violation of loan covenants. Across the Atlantic, a British importer canceled an entire shipment of European microcampers, citing pricing uncertainty from Asian competition. Even rental fleets joined in, slashing daily rates to maintain bookings. The slide wasn't dramatic yet, but it was spreading quietly, decisively, and fast. Industry analysts estimated that if the cam road reached international lots by year's end, global R-Vee retail prices could fall between 12 and 20% in less than a quarter. That kind of drop hasn't been seen since the recession of 2008. By sunrise, the price war was no longer a headline. It was a countdown, ticking toward the first true collapse, the redefinition of camping. When Toyota's Camroad Micro R-Vee landed at a price point below $5,000, it did more than disrupt the market. It rewrote who could afford to travel. Families that once settled for motels or day trips suddenly saw road travel within reach. Rental fleets reported bookings from demographics that had never rented before: younger workers, fixed-income retirees, and small families looking for flexible housing during seasonal work. Demand for short-term rentals jumped by 34% across Asia. While Western booking platforms saw inquiries from regions previously ignored by the camping industry, manufacturers used to treat the R-Vee sector as a premium lifestyle. Now it resembled a household appliance, affordable, modular, replaceable. Dealers discovered a paradox. Sales volume rose, but profit margins collapsed. Accessories that once carried 40% markups became competitive commodities overnight. The market grew, but the math didn't. For the first time, mobility looked less like luxury and more like a public utility: cheap, accessible, and constantly moving. The culture of camping was evolving from weekend escape to everyday practicality. The dream of affordable travel had arrived, but the factories behind it were about to face a supply chain unlike anything they'd planned for. The supply chain flip. For decades, the power in recreational vehicle manufacturing sat with large Western assemblers who dictated prices to smaller parts suppliers. The Camroad shattered that hierarchy. As Toyota scaled domestic output, smaller component makers in Japan, Korea, and Taiwan began receiving global inquiries for lightweight frames, solar converters, and composite panels. Within months, their order books tripled. Factories once dismissed as secondary suppliers were suddenly setting terms. Bulk orders reduced per-unit costs by up to 18%, but freight advantages made the real difference. Shipping from Yokohama to Los Angeles averaged $240 per unit, half the European rate, early investors noticed. Several logistics funds shifted capital toward Pacific suppliers, predicting a 5-year dominance in micro-mobility components. Even American distributors quietly placed trial orders, rebranding imported assemblies under domestic labels. The profit center moved downstream. Whoever controlled materials controlled the future. It was a reversal few expected. Industry insiders began referring to it as the flip, a quiet transfer of leverage from finished vehicle brands to the small factories that actually make the parts. Power shifted east, but every technological leap comes with a cost, and the next one wouldn't be paid in yen or dollars, but electricity. Before the next market update hits, subscribe right here. You'll get every new breakdown first, with numbers, leaks, and manufacturer moves before they make headlines. Stay informed, stay early, and don't let anyone else tell you what's coming. Technology's hidden bill. The Camroad's breakthrough relied on compact electric systems powered by small-capacity lithium packs. They were efficient, silent, and clean, until multiplied by tens of thousands. As micro R-Vees spread, regional utilities in Japan, California, and Germany began warning of voltage fluctuations at rural charging hubs. One report from a Tokyo Energy Consortium estimated that if just 50,000 units charged overnight, it would equal the draw of a mid-sized city. Campsites and storage lots scrambled to install fast chargers, each costing nearly $120,000 to deploy. The first wave of upgrades pushed local campground fees up by 15% within a season. Insurance carriers soon added new surcharges for vehicles stored with live battery connections, citing fire risk. Electricity providers introduced mobility access tariffs to offset grid strain. Suddenly, the cheapest R-Vee to buy became expensive to maintain. Owners realized that low sticker prices masked a lifetime of small recurring costs, charging, software updates, and regulated disposal fees. What looked like freedom at purchase turned into a quiet subscription to energy itself. Power shifted east. But every technological leap comes with a cost, and the next one wouldn't be paid in yen or dollars, but electricity. The new business model war. The affordability wave sparked a second battle, not in factories, but in finance. Startups began offering subscription mobility plans built around fleets of Camrod-style R-Vees. Instead of owning, customers paid monthly fees covering storage, insurance, and maintenance. A pilot program in Osaka launched with 500 vehicles, all booked within 3 days. Similar trials appeared in Portland, Sydney, and Berlin, each testing flexible ownership for people unwilling to commit to long-term loans. Investors saw predictable revenue. Users saw convenience without depreciation. Traditional manufacturers scrambled to copy the model. Thor and Winnebago partnered with rental aggregators, while Tesla-backed mobility startups hinted at integrating vehicle data into ride-sharing apps. It was no longer about building campers, it was about controlling access. Analysts projected that by 2030, 1 in 4 compact R-Vees could operate under some form of subscription or fleet lease. Whoever mastered logistics, software tracking, and service networks would define the next decade of travel. The battlefield had moved from assembly lines to cloud dashboards, where the product wasn't a van, it was recurring payment data. Ownership itself was being rewritten. Yet even as new models rose, the industry's old giants weren't done fighting back. They were bracing for impact. Winners and losers, the global R-Vee industry split almost overnight. On one side stood Japan's innovators Toyota, leading with the Camroad, joined by smaller firms like Daihatsu Mobility and Envan Works. On the other side were Western giants, staring down record depreciation. By mid-year, used inventory values in the United States had fallen by 17%. Erasing nearly $2 billion in equity across dealer networks. In Europe, dealers holding older stock faced even sharper declines, with units that once retailed for $140,000 now appraised below $90,000. Manufacturers called it temporary softening, but balance sheets told another story. Meanwhile, Japanese exports doubled within 1 quarter. Investors treated the Camroad like the Model T, of modern travel-efficient, durable, and socially transformative. Analysts projected total global shipments of 80,000 by next spring. Western plants still operated, but mostly to clear backlogged orders at thin margins. A quiet shift had begun. Innovation was now measured by affordability, not luxury. Every revolution creates casualties, and this one's just starting. While factories in Japan raced ahead, the real collapse was still to come, hidden behind glass doors, where salesmen watched the future pull their profits apart. The dealer freefall. Across North America and Europe, dealership managers described the same pattern. Fewer walk-ins, longer holding times, and rising loan stress. A Montana retailer reported an average of 120 days for new R-Vee inventory to move, double last year's pace. Margins shrank to single digits. One internal spreadsheet leaked from a major chain showed finance profit per unit down by 40%. The ripple hit payrolls next. Sales teams, once earning steady commissions, saw hours cut, while service departments idled under warranty backlogs. Showroom footage from Minnesota captured aisles of unsold rigs under dimmed lights to save electricity. Employees whispered about upcoming closures as corporate emails promised restructuring. Many dealerships relied on floor plan credit financing that collapses when banks lose confidence. And that confidence was slipping fast. When financing dries up, inventory follows fast. For dealers accustomed to growth, the reality was brutal. The old model of high-margin sales couldn't survive in a world reshaped by a $4,095 R-Vee. Just as dealerships dimmed their lights, a different noise began overseas. Factories humming with ambition, each one convinced it could replicate Japan's miracle, the global ripple. In the wake of Toyota's triumph, manufacturers from India, Poland, and Vietnam rushed to announce their own sub-5,000 R-Vees. Press releases promised accessible adventure, but few included verified cost data. One Indian startup unveiled a fiberglass microcamper priced at $4,600. Yet later admitted it lacked certified crash testing. In Eastern Europe, a factory near Krakow revealed an ultralight electric trailer with batteries sourced from unregulated recyclers. Early units overheated during charging demonstrations. Governments celebrated domestic ingenuity, but consumer groups called it reckless imitation. Still, the temptation was understandable. The Camroad had rewritten global headlines, and every nation wanted its share of attention. Analysts warned that scaling too quickly without Toyota's quality control would backfire. Cheap materials, insufficient grounding, systems, and counterfeit components could turn a low-cost dream into a high-risk liability. Copying a miracle doesn't make it cheap. It makes it dangerous. What Japan achieved through precision, others attempted through shortcuts. By the time copycats filled the headlines, a quieter threat was forming. The kind that doesn't crash markets overnight, but erodes trust, piece by piece. The final warning. The era of the $4,095 R-Vee promised freedom, but delivered pressure. Every manufacturer chasing the price ceiling found themselves trimming costs in places consumers couldn't see. Thinner insulation, weaker adhesives, outsourced wiring. Warranty departments braced for record claims within 2 years. Safety regulators in the United Kingdom already logged a 12% rise in recall notices tied to new microcamper imports. Insurance carriers raised premiums across the board, predicting that rapid production cycles would invite structural failures. But there's a deeper issue, the illusion of affordability. That $4,095 price tag shines like a miracle, but it hides a system built to extract money later. Cheap entry points lure buyers into costly ecosystems of maintenance contracts, software subscriptions, and replacement parts that only authorized dealers can sell. What feels like freedom at first often becomes a controlled loop of service fees and dependency. The Camroad stands apart because Toyota's disciplined network can sustain that efficiency. Most imitators can't. They'll chase the price by trimming corners that buyers won't see until months later. Weak adhesives, thin insulation, low-grade wiring. This is where affordability turns deceptive. The smart move now isn't to rush. It's to wait, watch, and learn. Stay patient, stay informed, and remember, the next shock won't come from across the ocean. It'll roll quietly, on 4 small wheels, straight into your own driveway. And that's the shockwave Japan just unleashed on the entire R-Vee world. But I want to hear from you. Would you actually buy a $4,095 camper? Or is it too good to be true? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this breakdown helped you stay ahead of the market, hit like, subscribe, and share this video. Big updates are coming. Don't miss what happens next.